Operation Determined Guard. In the turbulent mid-1990s, as the Balkans reeled from ethnic conflict and the international community struggled to enforce peace, NATO found itself increasingly taking on complex and layered operations to stabilize the region. Among these efforts was Operation Determined Guard, launched in 1996 as a direct evolution of NATO's growing maritime enforcement presence in the Adriatic Sea. Its mission, to ensure compliance with United Nations sanctions and arms embargoes, deter smuggling, and safeguard the fragile peace process emerging in the aftermath of the Dayton Accords. Operation Determined Guard followed the highly effective Operation Sharp Guard, which had been a joint NATO-European Union endeavor. With Sharp Guard ending, Determined Guard picked up the mantle, continuing the maritime blockade of the former Yugoslav states, particularly against the remnants of the Yugoslav military complex and black market networks that still posed a threat to the region's stabilization. Operating primarily in the Adriatic, NATO deployed a fleet of frigates, destroyers, submarines, and maritime patrol aircraft. The mission was straightforward in design, but complex in execution. Intercept, inspect, and, if necessary, divert vessels suspected of carrying prohibited cargo. Every ship heading toward ports in Montenegro, Croatia, or Albania came under scrutiny. Boarding teams were trained in search protocols, cargo verification, and enforcement procedures aligned with international law. What distinguished Determined Guard was its timing. It occurred during a critical transition, from war fighting and crisis response to post-conflict stabilization. The region was still raw with distrust, and any perceived weakening of international resolve could have reignited hostilities. NATO's sustained naval presence served as a strategic anchor, a visible symbol that peace was being protected, not just negotiated. The operation also refined NATO's maritime command and control structure. Determined Guard introduced more advanced coordination between ships, aircraft, and intelligence platforms, allowing for real-time tracking of suspect vessels. Satellite data, electronic surveillance, and coastal intelligence were all fused into a central command network, enabling faster decision-making and more precise targeting of illicit maritime activity. Beyond the enforcement of embargoes, the operation played a critical diplomatic role. It signaled to the new governments of Bosnia and Croatia that NATO was invested in their reconstruction. It reassured regional partners that the alliance would not abandon the region once the shooting stopped, and it demonstrated to smugglers, war criminals, and would-be spoilers that international justice would not be thwarted by sea. As the region gradually stabilized and the European Union began taking on a larger security role, NATO wound down Determined Guard, transitioning responsibilities to civilian agencies and EU-led initiatives. But by then, the operation had accomplished its mission. The seas were no longer a highway for weapons and illicit cargo, and the balance of power had firmly shifted toward peace and reconstruction. Operation Determined Guard may not have involved dramatic combat, but it was a quiet victory for rule of law, maritime security, and multilateral enforcement. It reinforced NATO's ability to pivot from conflict to containment, to enforce international mandates with precision, and to maintain pressure long enough for diplomacy to succeed. In a region where the tide of war had once drowned hope, Operation Determined Guard helped hold that line, one intercepted ship at a time.